The Big 12 Week 13 preview and picks edition of the Big 12 College Experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, props, and game lines. Download that Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Everybody to the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Week 13, feast week in college hoops, but we're talking college football and the final week, and we got about 1,000 goddamn scenarios to see who gets to Dallas. Still got my 40-1 Mike Gundy ticket in my pocket, so we'll talk about what I need to get Gundy to Dallas to win that thing. If you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Moneyline Mac. He is the Big 12 guru. He's also a fan of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, a fan of Mike Gundy. He is the green mowing, weed growing. He is the Big 12 guru. What's up, man?
I was going to say fellow 40-1 ticket holder of the Gundy, hopefully to get the new WWE championship belt. It's the time of year where it's gross as hell outside and there's too much weed to trim and it gets annoying, but at least you've got those day basketball games on. You've got, Friday football games. You don't have to wait all the way till the weekend. Oh, best time of year right now. Just ready to get loaded up on food and yell at the TV, baby.
Well, especially when you got Black Friday football. It's one of the best days. I don't like that the NFL's on Friday now, but it is what it is. The NFL is going to find a way to weasel their way into it. Troy, let's recap last week. Biggest winners of the week were the three teams that needed to win: Texas, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State, and Kansas State. You can throw Kansas State in there. So that gets us to Texas enters at 7-1. They got in every break so far this year. Shout out to the chat. Danny says horns up. No, sir. They will stay down, and they are not winning the Big 12. Then you got the three-way tie between the Cowboys, Sooners, and Wildcats. The tiebreaker goes to the Oklahoma State Cowboys because they defeated Oklahoma and K-State in the regular season. But you also have the Mountaineers at 5-3, Iowa State at 5-3, Texas Tech at 5-3. Then you got the Jayhawks at 4-4, Frogs at 3-5, and then you got a shitload of teams at 2-6 or 1-7. That includes Houston, Baylor, BYU, UCF, and Cincinnati. Teams that need to win this week to get to a bowl game. That's another thing to monitor. TCU enters at 5-6. They need a win to get to that magic win number 6.
UCF.
Who else do we got? UCF and BYU. UCF and BYU. And UCF probably has the most winnable game out of these teams that need a game to go. The only ones that are eliminated are Houston at 4-7. And then, of course, Baylor at 3-8 and Cincinnati at 3-8. Troy, before we dive into the scenarios, biggest headline coming into this final Week 13 week.
Will there be a poke choke? I mean,
oh God, don't say that.
That's the one that everything kind of hangs on that. I guess because they play those games on Friday, if for some reason Texas Tech is able to upset Texas and Austin, then also all hell breaks loose. But just because of the known poke choke of Oklahoma State, I'm more worried about that game than I if I were a Texas fan. I would still, last chance for Tech, last Big 12 game, I would still be a little weary, but not as much as Oklahoma State. We got to make sure Gundy doesn't Gundy here.
Yeah, no, I know they're 17.5-point favorites. We'll talk about them, but this has been the traditional spot where they have choked. This doesn't need to happen. BYU's a bad team. They need to fucking beat the shit out of them, especially with it being in Stillwater. Troy, why don't you walk through a couple scenarios here? First scenario, Texas wins, they're in. That's the obvious one. That's a
Yes.
Friday night game. If Texas somehow loses to Texas Tech, which Brett Yormark said at the beginning of the year, then what happens? Other than it
Well,
opens up a shitload of scenarios.
they still get in with a loss as long as Oklahoma State loses, or if all three of the other Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Kansas win, then Texas is still in the championship, and the tiebreaker between the other three would come into effect for second place. So besides that, you've got Oklahoma State gets in if they simply beat BYU after if Texas were to win on Friday, they're in there. If they get in and Texas and Kansas State lose, well, if they win, then they get in if Texas and Kansas State lose. And there's still a couple of scenarios where they could lose to BYU and Oklahoma loses. That pretty much locks them in there. They would need Texas to win one of those, so they would be fighting for the between the other group of them, Oklahoma and Kansas State, which they hold the tiebreaker over. Basically, as long as those three teams have the same record, Oklahoma State's going to get in over them.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma's looking for Oklahoma State to lose, which would make their game, their Friday afternoon game would be win and get in if Oklahoma State loses. And K-State still gets in there. They need Texas to lose and a win over Iowa State. And if Texas does win and both Oklahoma schools lose and a win over Iowa State, Kansas State can still reach. So still a fuck ton of possible hell to break loose here. Luckily, we get the Friday games that is going to, kind of narrow down a lot of those scenarios right off the bat. But, man, this could be very wild.
Troy, let me ask you this. So say Oklahoma and Texas both win Friday. Then it's simple as if Gundy wins, he's in.
Yes.
If he loses and K-State wins, who gets the tiebreaker between K-State and Oklahoma?
If Oklahoma State loses and Kansas State wins, I believe they still need Oklahoma to lose in order to get them. Yes, the Oklahoma would still get the tiebreaker then. So if Oklahoma and Texas win and Oklahoma State loses, that pretty much locks Oklahoma in there.
So K-State needs the most by far.
Yeah, K-State needs the most help. They basically need both of the Oklahoma schools to lose.
So to confirm, Troy, basically a win from Texas and Oklahoma on Friday eliminates Kansas State, no matter the scenario. And basically, if Oklahoma and Texas win, it's down to Oklahoma or Oklahoma State.
Yeah, if both Texas and Oklahoma win, that does pretty much eliminate. Yeah, that completely eliminates Kansas State. They need either one of those two games to go in the favor of the dog. And at that point, it would just be all up to Gundy to win or lose.
You know what's crazy? Oklahoma State actually might be rooting for Texas because the only way that they don't win or don't get in, I think if they win, is if it's like a four-way crazy tie. And that's the only way that happens is if Texas loses. So they actually want Texas to win, and then they just have to handle business.
Yeah, I think they get eliminated if Texas loses, but Kansas State wins, even if they beat BYU.
Which is wild because they beat Kansas State, but
yeah,
I mean, this is what happens when you don't have
the wording of the
because you don't have the true round robin. Yeah, while we called this, man, we knew the Big 12 was going to come down the final weekend. This was so obvious. All right, let's get to it in a minute, but first we got to talk about Bet365. We're brought to you by Bet365 on the Big 12 College Experience, the world's favorite sportsbook trusted by over 88 million players worldwide. Prop sides, total live betting, Bet365 has you covered. And if you like boosts, you're going to love Bet365, like a 30% profit on your NFL same-game parlay. Plus, they even have an early payout offer if your team goes up 17 points at any point in the game. Sign up today and choose from two bonus offers, either a $1,000 no-sweat bet bet 5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Just head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365, or use that sign-up link in our show bio. What do I like here? Let's give out a basketball. I'm on the Jayhawks tonight against Marquette. Lay the 4.5. I know it opened at 3, been bet up. I got in on it last night on the college basketball experience. Rock Chalk, I think they make a statement, get to the finals of the Maui Invitational in Honolulu. It's not in Maui because of the natural disaster out there. So if you got a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Troy, enough spitballing around. Let's go to the first game. And this is going to be noon on Friday Eastern, Black Friday. You're having some leftover chicken. You're probably hungover like a motherfucker. I know I will be. Let's lead it off. TCU's going to Norman, the final Big 12 home game. Sooners laying 10.5. Remember last year, TCU beat the tar off them in Fort Worth. I kind of already teased it. I'm definitely going to be on the Frogs because they got to have this game to get bowl eligible. So a nice fuck you play here. I think TCU's live in this game, so I'll sprinkle some on the money line as well. Troy, your Sooners, do they roll here?
I saw this one at 10 a little bit earlier and made a note that, you might want to get in on the 10 because I actually see this one going up a little bit. But I'm going to take the points. I think Oklahoma wins this game, but I do think that TCU comes out there with a little bit of intensity trying to get to 6 wins and keeps it closer than this number, especially with that extra half point. I could almost see Oklahoma winning this game by exactly 10. And if you got in on it early, you're going to be lucky. But besides that, no chance. Oh, you got a friend.
Yeah, my dog came down. You like TCU, don't you? Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Penny's on TCU. Here, say hi to the camera.
Say hi, Penny.
There's a dog.
Hello.
We're definitely going to take Texas Tech, aren't we? All right, next up, we go to the Friday night game, Black Friday. There she goes. She's out of here. She goes, don't take the Longhorns. That was her last message to me. We're going to go to Austin for the final game. Brett Yormark will be there. Big 12, the finale. Texas, all they got to do is win and they're in. Win and they're in. There's no way they're going to choke this away. They're 12.5-point favorites. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. You're a maniac if you lay the points. That'll be the first thing I'll say to you. It's about if you want to sprinkle on that 4-1 money line, and hell fucking yeah. Texas Tech is going to stun them. Just like Texas did to Texas A&M on the way out, Texas Tech's going to win this game. Give me the Red Raiders. That was a big win last week to take the pressure off them so that they didn't have to have this to get bowl eligible. They've won 3 in a row coming into this thing. Starting to find it. They finished strong last year. They won their last 4. They're going to win their last 4 again. Guns up, baby. Red Raiders.
I do think that 12.5 is a little too much. If Texas was properly rated, this 12.5 would be a coverable spot. But we've seen them get lucky so many times that I don't think you ever want to lay this many points with this Texas team. We know they're a good football team. They're very mistake prone, and they don't really ever, go 60 minutes where they look like they have full control of everything going on. I'm taking the points here. I don't think Texas Tech wins this game in Austin. I think with the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th man in stripes that Texas is probably not going to lose this one. But I think Texas Tech covers this.
All right, we're both on the Raiders. Guns up, baby. Let's go over to Saturday. We got an interesting one here. Houston, the Cougars going down to the bounce house. We already laid out the scenario here. Central Florida, the very, very golden, shiny Knights. All they got to do is win, and simply they're in. I will lay it, actually. I'm going to lay the big number. I think UCF's going to put it on them. This is a nice spot to get bowl eligible. I thought UCF's actually played better down the stretch. I look for them to keep playing well. I think that they've played well down the stretch because Plumlee's been healthy. Dana, that was a dream crusher game for them last week. All-out kitchen sink game to beat Oklahoma State. They had the lead, but then choked it away. I think they get drilled here. I think UCF's going to roll. I'll lay the points.
Yeah, this is you can hammer this 13.5. I think the bounce house is going to be rocking, trying to get their guys to bowl eligibility first year in a Power 5 conference. I just see Gus Malzahn as being a little bit too fast for what Houston can, not really do on defense in the first place. I think that they take even more advantage of that. I see UCF rolling in this one, getting bowl eligible. Shiny Knights probably traveling, an hour and 15 minutes away, hour and 45 up to Jacksonville.
I like it. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Let's go. Shiny Knights, baby. All right, man. Here we go. The game of games. Oklahoma State's laying 17.5. If this picture's going to come true, Gundy's got to come through for us here. I feel like it's tempting with all those points to take BYU, but they've been god awful on the road, man. This is a banged up team. They do need this game though for bowl eligibility, so you are going to get a max effort. But I think they're just going to run the ball right down their throat with Ollie Gordon, like West Virginia did. I think Oklahoma State's going to roll their ass. I'm going to lay the number here, and we're going to celebrate Saturday night that Gundy 40-1 is alive and well headed to Dallas. How about you?
With the start of last week's game against Houston, I was definitely worried, but they were able to turn it on and come through. And I really don't see BYU as too much of a different team. Like maybe they'll be able to throw a couple of different defensive looks at Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State can just do too much offensively with the ability to just decide, we can run halfback slam here for 7 or 8 yards. I'm going to lay this number, but I don't feel great about it. The hook is scary. I think it is there to kind of ward people off. Yeah, I think it's there to kind of ward people off. If Oklahoma State plays their normal football game here, this should be a 30-point game. So
I agree.
We're going to go with, the hopefully mathematically more likely scenario. Stay away, poke choke. Go fuck yourself. Stay away, poke choke.
38-14. How's that sound?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, let's go. It's just like Cincinnati. It was tempting there too, but not happening. Coach Gundy's getting this puppy done, baby. All right, we're moving along here on the slate. Rapid fire. The Mountaineers, 7-4. Where's all you motherfuckers that said they were going 2-10 this year? Kiss my ass. That was a lock. We had that over 4.5 locked up, but by Halloween when they won at the Bounce House. They're going to Waco. Baylor's done. I'm going to lay it here too. I think West Virginia's going to run the ball down their throat. I think Neil Brown and those guys want to get to 8 wins. That's kind of been everybody said we were crazy when we said, hey, I think they could win 8 games with the schedule. I think this is the spot they roll here again. They've been rolling these teams that suck. They've rolled BYU. They've rolled Cincinnati. They've rolled – who else did they roll? I guess then they protected home field against Texas Tech, who's solid, beat TCU, grinding that out. I think they roll Baylor. The only game that they really have choked against teams that have been below them in talent is Houston, and that's just because of Dana. So I think this is a good spot for Neil and that company to finish strong here, get to 8-4, get to a bowl game, have a chance to win 9 games. Give me the Mountaineers. I think they roll it here. Troy, how about your Bears?
Yeah, there's an 8.5 and there's a 9 out there still. None of that really matters. They're still going to cover this 9.5. I see. I don't really, the glue factory that is Baylor. I haven't seen too much out of them. I know Blake Shapen really tries his butt off, but he's just not quite talented enough to get it done. I'm laying the points pretty easily here on the road. I don't see Baylor sticking. I mean, I hope they don't. I disagree with Colby when it comes to giving Aranda another year. It's too quick in today's day and age of college football. You got to make a move for somebody, I think. Lay the points. Mountaineers probably get this one done by 2 or more touchdowns.
Is this Aranda's last game?
I would hope.
I kind of think he's going to get fired too. I mean, he's only had 1 good year.
Yeah,
and I know he won the Big 12, but this is Baylor. Like Baylor's a good program. They've won with Rule or Bryles. It wasn't always pretty with the way they did it, but they always have won.
Did you see any of this stuff? Matt Rule was talking about how he thinks he might get fired. Baylor could just Baylor can just go get him back if he gets fired. I mean, why not? You already know what you're gonna get, and I would much rather be a program like Iowa that wins 8 or 9 games every year and consistently, brings excitement 3 or 4 times a year than have a couple of these, stinker years in there. It's really not the best way to get recruits and transfers. So you're just digging yourself a deeper hole, I think, by letting him hang around another year if that's the decision they go with.
You know what tree Dave Aranda comes from? Remember who he worked under?
LSU, right? Orgeron and them.
Coach O. So remember Coach O? He won his national championship, and then they were dog shit after that. It kind of feels like a very similar thing where he caught lightning in a bottle in 2021, but it kind of was a fluke. I mean, I think he makes a hell of a defensive coordinator. I think he's going to do a great job. I saw Lincoln Riley should hire him. I agree with that. I think he did a great job at LSU, but I think his days are numbered.
As a head coach, he's kind of like the pinch runner on third base guy. Like he can get from third to home, but if he's got to go, more than 90 feet, it looks a lot of like he's not quite prepared for that.
Yep. All right, Troy. Well, we've agreed on every game. Let's see if we agree again. I think we will. The Jayhawks are laying 6 in Cincinnati. What is the Jayhawks' overall record? 7-4.
They got 7.
Oh, yeah. They're going to want – so they were 6-6 last year. They've taken a trajectory step every single year. Kansas is going to beat the fuck out of Cincinnati. Lay the points here. I think this is lock actual potential. They keep giving these numbers to Emory Jones. He had his miracle win against Houston. That's it. That's all he's getting.
I think the 6.5 or the 6 points here is not nearly enough.
Yeah, I agree.
That seems very lockable. I mean, 100% lay this. Emory Jones sucks. They just can't score in the red zone. He doesn't quite have that talent. It's the same thing. If he can't scramble and get in, then you're settling for too many field goals. Kansas probably pretty amped up that they're getting their boy back for another year too. So
yeah, they played well last week against K-State.
Mm-hmm. I was very surprised in a pleasant way for Kansas to have hung around the way they did with K-State last week.
I completely agree. Let's lay it. We're both on the same side again. We've laid the point in every Saturday game.
Scott Satterfield, he sucks.
I'll tell you, he's got about half a year left.
Look at if Louisville comes out next year and they're 4-1 or 5-0 to start the year off, you got to get rid of Scott Satterfield. Like you can just 100%, tell with regardless to what he does in Cincinnati, you can just tell that instantly they're getting more out of guys.
You can't, and I'm a West Virginia fan. You can't go to Morgantown and get drilled by 40. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like in Cincinnati, like
you gotta at least hang.
Yeah, you lose by 2 touchdowns. Don't get drilled. Don't be down 5 touchdowns in the fucking fourth. That's embarrassing, and that's unacceptable in Cincinnati. That team has completely quit on him. I know it's year 1. I think they got to look at pulling the plug after 1 year. I know that sounds crazy, but they are not going to win with that guy. That guy
he should have never been plugged in, so it doesn't like the how quickly you unplug something that should have never been plugged in the first place it's almost better to go early with it.
Cut your losses, yeah. I agree with you. He'll get another year, but he'll be out of there midway through next year when they start 1-5 again. So all right, we're laying it again. Let's see if we laid in the final one. The Iowa State Cyclones, good story, man. Oh, man, they were right in that game against Texas. They just some boneheaded mistakes down the stretch. Texas grinded it out. They got more talent than Iowa State. Iowa State didn't get the breaks that they needed to get to upset the Longhorns. I feel like that was a dream crusher spot. I think K-State's going to be eliminated by this time. I think they're going to be pissed off, and I think they're going to roll Iowa State. I'm going to lay it again. I think this is like 41-10 smash spot. K-State pissed off. They're not going back to the Big 12 title, but they want to get to 9-3.
It just seems like Iowa State has now hit a wall. Like things were going significantly better than expected, and it's just kind of the regression to the mean or whatever. I don't think the scenario is met with 10 points for Kansas State, especially after, having to fight against Kansas last week and the Jayhawks sticking around. I see this one as a smash too. And if for some reason there's a chance for them to get in with a win by the time that this game rolls around on Saturday, I think they probably smash even more than they would have in the first place. I don't think Iowa State jumps into that spoiler role, but they would have a chance if for some reason Texas has lost. We get all the way to Saturday.
Yeah.
We could be talking about Iowa State needing to win and Kansas State possibly playing spoiler. That also seems like a smash scenario to me, so I'm laying the points.
Do you realize we just agreed on all 7 games? That has never happened. That means we're going 0-7.
We got to go back through with the coin, don't we?
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Troy. I think we should each of us put in $10
on the
a 7-legger just to see if we can go 7-0. Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel pretty damn good about this slate.
Just play the spreads in a 7-legger.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm gonna do that.
We should probably just play the money lines in the 7-legger.
Yeah, I mean
that's with that many games.
I really feel confident in the 5 on Saturday too. The ones where we're laying all the points in against the dead teams.
The problem with this is we haven't had a single week in the Big 12 where everything went like according to plan. So
yeah,
we could be screwed when TCU beats Oklahoma and Norman or something like that.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. I think if there's going to be chaos, it's going to be on Friday.
Yeah,
if TCU
but that's just going to cause more chaos on Saturday. True. That's just the first domino.
Well, yeah, that's why we're taking the points on Friday. Then we're laying them on Saturday. Take the points on Friday, lay them on Saturday.
You could have a point. Like there's a chance, especially in this. So like there's a chance that TCU wins, and
there's a chance Texas Tech wins.
Yeah, and in either scenario, depending on the Kansas State game is later on at night, so there's a chance that Oklahoma State would be, thinking with a loss, they have a better chance of getting in. Because if Texas loses, a win means that they need Iowa State to beat Kansas State. So you're thinking,
it'd be great.
You have to lose to get in.
What's the scenario for Kansas State and Oklahoma State to play in the final? Is that out there?
I think if Oklahoma State makes it, that probably eliminates Kansas State because they're already a game back of Kansas. So or a game back of Texas. So I think the only chances for Oklahoma State to get in would be to play Texas or to play Oklahoma.
There's only
because Oklahoma would have the tiebreak over Texas. So, I don't think there's much of a chance at both K-State and Oklahoma State getting in.
Sucks. That's on K-State. They should have beat Texas. It came back to they fucking pissed that game away when they went for it on 4th down and 4. Play for overtime. You're going to win the game. You got all the momentum. And their kicker missed a goddamn extra point. They missed an extra point. They missed the 20-yarder. They should have won at Texas. That's unfortunately going to cost Kansas State the Big 12 title, or at least an appearance. So it is what it is. Gundy's just going to have to end it himself. Horns down.
So they need, because if Texas loses and both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State lose, Texas is still going to get in because they didn't play Oklahoma State, so they have the common opponents. And then, because I was thinking, if both Oklahoma and Texas lose and K-State beats Iowa State and Oklahoma State wins, that might be a scenario where they play each other.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. All right, let's it's too many scenarios for me. Let's get his paid real quick, Troy, before we get into our lock, dog, and tease. Underdog Fantasy is a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, and college football. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats to cash in. My favorite play tonight, take Hunter Dickinson higher points and rebounds tonight. Marquette's thin on the front line, so they're going to throw it inside. I like Hunter Dickinson higher, his points and rebounds combined. Watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little bit of cash over on Underdog's mobile website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you use that sign-up code, SGPN Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting analytics platform for parlays, props, game lines. Research all NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer with stats and data. Enter any parlay into the Hall of Fame Bets Revolutionary Parlay Optimizer tool to get every single leg broken down by percentage. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft a more intelligent, data-driven parlay. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All righty, let's get into our lock, dog, and tease for the Week 13, Troy. I'll lead it off. I'm going to lock up Rock Chalk. They want to win 8 games. They're gonna fuck Cincinnati up. I'm gonna lay it with
that definitely seems like the safest one. I'm gonna lock West Virginia against Baylor. The just lock against Baylor strategy has helped turn my record a little bit back into the positive side. So we're gonna stick with that. I'm locking Mountaineers.
I like the Mountaineers as well. I like taking the teams that are motivated this time of year.
Especially if you see that 8.5 or a 9 for West Virginia, go ahead and lock that. And like I said, Baylor 0-3 against the spread, even with 9 or more points in their favor. They're just not good.
Yeah, take the teams that are motivated. Kansas and West Virginia both want to get to 8 wins. Good year, good building foundation. Dog. Come on, guns up, baby. 4-1. Let's go, Red Raiders. Spoil the party in Austin in the finale like Texas did to A&M when they went to the SEC. Give me the Raiders as my dog, 4-1. Brett Yormark.
Yeah, that's really the only one that kind of makes sense. I mean, I guess you could go TCU, maybe, but I don't. Norman in the last home game and whatnot, I think it's a better chance that the in-state school maybe sneaks a few punches, gets a few bounces. I think we're going to almost agree on everything. This is horrible podcasting.
Anyway, I will say we have not done this the whole year. So, Troy, let's for our money line round robin, we won't do the money line round robin this time. Instead, I think we should do our 7-legger to see if we can
we're
hit
going to do
spreads.
our money line. Well, I mean, I'm putting one in on the spreads, and I'm definitely putting one in on the money line too. I think the 7-legger, even the teams that we picked with the spreads, I think, you take the money line on them. For me specifically, because I think you switch over the Texas to the 7-legger on the money line. You take Texas instead of Tech, but in the spread one, you take Tech.
Yes, for the spread one that we agreed on, and that's taking TCU with the points. That's taking Texas Tech with the points. That's laying the number with UCF. That's laying the number with the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Where are they at right here? That's laying the number with the West Virginia Mountaineers, laying the number with the Kansas Jayhawks. Where are the Jayhawks at? Right there. It's 7:30. And then the final one was the K-State Wildcats at 8 o'clock. 91-1, Troy. Let's go. Unanimous. 7-0 week.
Basically rich already. We're basically rich already.
Real quick, what about a tease? I'll tease. Let's see some of these favorites down. West Virginia. Tease UCF down to 7.5. They're going to win by double digits. Tease Oklahoma State down to 11.5. They're going to win by 2 touchdowns. Tease the West Virginia Mountaineers down to 3.5. They'll win by a touchdown. That's my tease. Troy, you got a teaser?
So for my tease, I think I'm going to go ahead and tease Oklahoma State back down to 11 and tease UCF down.
I like it.
And then I'm going to tease West Virginia up. I think they smash Baylor.
We agree, man. This is the most we've ever agreed. Yeah. Oh, do you want to do the coin real quick? I forgot about the coin.
Yeah, I can go through with the coin.
All right, let's go TCU, Oklahoma, real quick, rapid fire.
All right. That one is TCU.
TCU
Watch
for
the
fraud.
coin. Watch the coin agree on all 7.
I will lose it. All right, Texas Tech, Texas.
That's Texas Tech.
No way. All right, here we go. Houston at UCF.
That is Houston. Okay.
All right, finally another
coins on Houston.
I was gonna say this is fucking madness.
Oh, man.
If they BYU, Oklahoma State.
That is OK State.
West Virginia, Baylor.
West Virginia and Baylor. There's no way coin's taking Baylor. Oh yeah, coin's on West Virginia.
Kansas, Cincinnati.
Kansas, Cincinnati. Coin is on Cincinnati.
Oh, disgusting.
Gross.
The coin's got Cincinnati and Houston. All right, Iowa State, K-State to round it out.
Iowa State, K-State. Coin is on Iowa State to win.
Okay, there we go. All right, good. A little bit of diversity.
Coin showed a little bit of variance. We couldn't rig everything.
I swear to God, I was gonna walk off this fucking set if it agreed 7 games with us. I think Rush agreed on 5 or 6 of the games too. So, like I said, Troy and I are on that 91-1 where we're gonna run every single game with the spread. So, Troy, happy Thanksgiving, early Thanksgiving. Tell everybody what you got going on between now and Thursday, the magical day. I love this holiday.
We already got the turkeys in the brine right now. We'll slice the backbone off and smash it down and season it up tomorrow and kind of let it sit and let the skin get a little dry and then fire up the smoker on Thursday morning and get rocking. Me over on the X. I'm sure I'll be posting photos of everything. Made the pumpkin pies early today so I could do some quality control testing the next couple of nights before Thanksgiving. Never going to say no to an extra couple of slices of pumpkin pie. But yeah, I mean, Friday football is going to be awesome, whether it's NFL, NCAA, watching everything. We got these preseason or, beginning of season tournaments going on. Man, one of the best holidays. Just stuff your freaking face and get ready to yell at the TV. It's the greatest 2 things you can do.
Can't beat it, man. Like you said, if you're a football guy, this is the best holiday. Christmas, I know everybody gets enamored with all the stuff around it, but this is a guy's holiday. Thanksgiving is a guy's holiday. You drink beer, you fucking eat turkey, you eat stuffed mashed potatoes, cranberry, whatever you got going on. Get drunk, watch football, yell at the TV. You guys can find me at Moneyline_Mac. Like I said, man, over here at the College Basketball Experience every single night at around midnight Eastern. And we're there on Thanksgiving night, on Thanksgiving Eve. We're there every Black Friday. We're there every night because there's college basketball day games every single day during this feast week. Go check out the College Football Experience with Colby and those guys and see Nick, Patty C. See what Patty C's got in store under that desk tonight. Maybe sneak a little case of beer in there again. So go check out those guys. FCS Experience.
How to drown away his JMU sorrows.
Yeah, and go check out the Ryan and Rush show, which Troy will be on here in the top of the hour. 5 o'clock, we'll go preview the West Virginia Mountaineer Baylor Bears game. Troy kind of already hinted at which way he's leaning with the game, but he's going to break down why Baylor has not been Baylor this year, what the future of Dave Aranda is, and all that good stuff. So go check us out at the Ryan and Rush show. Rush is finally back from Jamaica, man. I think tonight. So he will be back next week. This will be the final episode of the Big 12 College Experience this week. And then we're back full-time next week previewing, hopefully, this guy right here going for 40-1 and maybe against that guy laying down there, the soft-ass Texas Longhorn. So we'll be back next week, and we'll recap all this Feast Week action. Jayhawks are on tonight. Baylor's on tomorrow night. Basketball's everywhere. Can't beat this time of year. Football all weekend.
Best time of year.
God is good. This country's good. No complaints from me, man. No complaints from this podcast. So good luck, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you next week or over at the College Basketball Experience. Let it ride, and we are out of here.